Welcome to the very first episode of the Infinite Bridges podcast, powered by the ASD Project. The ASD Project is a student-led initiative determined to foster acceptance by removing the harsh stigma surrounding autism spectrum disorder. Our topic today is driving, jobs, and independent adulthood. We are diving into what it takes to navigate these major milestones for autistic individuals. I'm Kea Mysorker, the co-founder of this organization, and I'm pleased to welcome our guest. Joining us is a professional speaker, autistic self-advocate, and the founder of the Driving With Autism program, Andrew Arboe. Andrew, thank you so much for being here. And before we dive into the questions, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your background?
Oh, yeah, and I want to say, because I'm pretty sure it was a question about Driving with Autism, that organization it used to be a past project I did. It doesn't really exist. I mean, it technically still exists, but it's through Autism Speaks. They technically own it. So I used to have it, but it's not officially going. So I don't want to kind of confuse people on that. That was kind of like a bump and a couple of positives. But to go over what I do is, yeah, been done. I was diagnosed back like around 5, 6. I'm a 90s person. I'm actually 33. So I've kind of been around for a while. So it was kind of diagnosed when I was like around 5, 6. So, and I used to be nonverbal, where I had a lot of trouble communicating. It took me a while through speech therapy and OT to help me communicate a lot better. So I grew up with that, and I decided to go into human services and education. I kind of want to get back communities, and I want to kind of build resources for people aging out of high school, like transition resources and programs. That's one of the reasons I go into those majors and the big stepping stone for all I do.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for being here. Let's dive straight into our questions. As a professional speaker and autistic self advocate, what inspired you to focus your life's work on helping young people navigate the transition into adulthood? What are some of the biggest hurdles autistic teenagers face when they begin planning for life after high school?
Very good question. And also, I want to do a disclaimer. Like, I'm just one autistic person. I do not represent everyone. So, this will be based on what I saw growing up and what I'm currently seeing. I always like to go by that because sometimes a lot of people try to speak for everyone, but unless you're a Tampa Granite, like that is very hard to do. And I like to be authentic with my brand and experiences. So I kind of like one of the biggest reasons was because I've been through that transition. Like, there's not a lot of resources. I mean, heck, when I aged out like a decade ago, my high school and different programs, they didn't really give me a checklist of what to do next. So it was literally like being thrown out to like Zelda Breath of the Wild of having this big world, not having a lot of objectives and be like have fun. Like, that's kind of the best way to describe it. And yes, I'm a big video gamer, so I might drop in a few references because a lot of the games kind of inspired my kind of like my outlook and inspired my ins- yeah, I can't speak today even for this coffee's here. Inspired perspective taking. So it's like some hurdles that I faced this was transportation and also finding out what's out there. Like I mentioned, there was no checklist I could find. Like, I didn't even know like there were nonprofits that had stuff going for me. Like, there's no like I didn't realize there were social groups for about my age, so I didn't know what was out there. And like looking for vocational like support, looking for like housing, like you really need to look for some really good nonprofits around your state to help out. And it's different. Like Connecticut, even though it's sandwiched between Massachusetts and New York, there could be some decent stuff, but a lot of the times you kind of have to do your own thing to be like, okay, good luck. And I imagine it's different in your state, and if you want to go into details of what it's like. with what it's like if you've noticed any resources. Like I know that you did some work with what was it, the Autism like
Yeah, it was
Michigan
the,
Alliance.
yep, Autism Alliance of Michigan. We actually held a 100% nonprofit fundraiser and we made over $2,000 for the Autism Alliance of Michigan. So we're familiar with them.
Yeah, like there's that. Like in case if you didn't know that, that'd be really difficult to access that. And it's all very a lot of it's circumstantial. Like some may have challenges on could be like family personal stuff. A lot of it could be just challenges with their own I of their own the condition slash disorder. In my brand, I like to be very neutral with language. Try to be as neutral as possible because terms keep changing all the time. So it's like I'm gonna try to find like the best neutral ones, and also don't want to dictate what people should believe for autism, especially autism, because there's so many different ways to describe it, for better or worse. So but it's a problem. Like I like to go back and forth with the language a bit. But some of the hurdles is just like resources, it's family circumstances, and some of the characteristics. Like some people may need more social support, others might need more help in vocational skills. It all depends. It also depends on state services. Like sometimes a lot of the services can be served in years long wait list. Like in Connecticut, the autism waiver takes like 10 or more years to get actual like services. So imagine if you have all these like older adult age autistic people, and it's gonna take a long time. And there's some of the noticeable hurdles there, and and I mentioned transportation, like I guess the lack of awareness, and worrying about specific modes like driving. Even for not everyone may drive, and I'm very pleased I'm able to drive. Finding resources that was a big challenge just because it connected with my employment, and I had to make driving work just to make sure my degrees mattered. And that could be its own question for its own. So I'm assuming that's going to come up because driving has been a big accuracy piece for me.
Yeah, for sure. We actually have a few questions regarding that
Yep,
after.
yep, yep, called it.
Yep. So that is incredible input, and thank you for that. And it may be tough navigating life as you become older, but with this input, the journey is a lot simpler. So thank you again. You founded the Driving with Autism program, just as I mentioned. Why is learning to navigate transportation such a milestone for independence, specifically on the spectrum?
Oh, big, yeah, pretty much as always, like very much a good question, and for mine, it's just having the ability, be able to access a higher quality of life. Because for me, like my driver's license allowed me to go out and do all the public speaking that I do. Allowed me to go travel to all the cool arcade and retro gaming stores in the East Coast. Like it gets me out of gets me out of any comfort zone and just explore the world around me. And not only that, again, just being able to make money afford like the hobbies you enjoy. So like a lot of those different ones on there. And what I also want to make note and say that maybe not everyone can drive, but like learning how to ride a bus and then using like a Uber or taxi service is just as meaningful because it's just having that ability and being able to decide for yourself of am I safe using this? Am I safe accessing the bus? Like those are very important questions to ask. And like I've talked to a lot of people that have those hurdles or they benefit from different strategies. Like I've actually through collaborating did the Drive with Autism one, which again, Autism Speaks officially owns that. Even through I am a consultant on there, and which reminds me, for my next email with them, I'm gonna ask to see if they're doing anything new with that because I've always want them to do a lot more. They just have a learning to drive course online that you can take for free, but there's always room for more content, and they know I'm a walking person of different experiences, so they know I'd be very willing to share more. But I want to create more resources because I got into public speaking, talk about going into just kind of just showing people that it's like to be autistic when driving because there wasn't a lot of materials there. I mean, heck, even there wasn't a lot of research until the last 10 years, which slowly built up. And I actually knew a researcher from Philadelphia that shared this to stakeholders that handle all like the major funding, and they were like, why do you need to do this? Like, why do you have to? Why? What does this have to do with quality of life? And what does it matter? Which is insane. Which is insane. Like, how dare people go and get their doctors, or how dare people be able to access the school they want to enroll in, either trade school, college, etc. Like, how dare people? Which is crazy. Like, just again, having be able to educate themselves, be able to develop curriculum that actually addresses like the population, like crazy. And I'm happy that there was a lot more research, and I'm also been involved in various different projects because I want people to have a better outcomes than I did. Because when I was attending workshops when I was like majoring in human services, like I didn't see a single thing out of driving, so I wanted to improve that. Wanted to create presentations on that, collaborate on projects like Driving with Autism. I also collaborate with a driving school. And currently, one of my most recent contractors is with Neurodiverse Technologies. I'm a Connecticut ambassador to Sandy, which is a driver simulator, which lets you kind of practice skills in a virtual reality environment. Like, I actually, fun fact, I finally got to try it. There is only one of these in the East Coast in Massachusetts. Massachusetts, there's only one place that has it. So I tried out the 2D version. So there's a virtual reality in a 2D version. So I got to try that, and it's all breaking down. It's very tailor made to any scenario. It tracks your eyes and even like your sweat. It was calling me out for not looking at the signs when I was testing it, and I was trying everything, like seeing how many rules I can break. I have to test out. I am a gamer, and sometimes you do have to test to see how far the game tells me no. So it's like you kind of have to experiment and also just get a feel for it. And it felt really good. Like it has a lot of potential. I'm really proud of doing that contract, of having that contractor as part of my brand. So you could all find that on my webpage. And who knows, that could be another topic for another day.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know the URL of your website?
Pretty much andrewarboe.webread.com.
Okay, thank
And
you. We'll
plus, um,
definitely check that out.
and
And
plus,
thank
I'm sorry. I'm assuming you'll be posting it on the web on the video version of this. So
Oh, this is
in the
an
description and all
audio
that.
based.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So, thank you so much for that in-depth information. It's really helpful. And building off of that, how do you adapt the process of learning to drive to better fit how an ASD individual naturally learns and handles input behind the wheel? Of course, we acknowledge that you're one person with ASD, and then it might not be a broad message, but we just wanted to hear your input.
Yeah, we're good. And there's a lot of different strategies, and it really is like a lot of it is developing that routine. At least for me, like I need that routine, and being able to be able to try go out there, and then starting small, like in a few different projects. I kind of see driving as like a leveling up system or like a Super Mario level system. Very different, but hear me out. Like I see it as a like when you go practice in a parking lot, that's like level 101 in the NES Super Mario Brothers. Lets you kind of experiment, tells you everything that you need to know about your vehicle. You get used to your vehicle, you get used to the AC, get used to how the steering wheel goes, because you have to kind of put your hands on like the sides of it, and get the feel of how you move the vehicle, like all these things that you do in the first level or the parking lot in this case. So it's like was breaking it down to like different sections was really helpful, and you can kind of build off on that. And I'm a huge believer in adding of using your own community. Like, if you love that coffee place, use it. Like, do a drive for a coffee place. Like if you want to drive to the less busier times, that's okay. If you want to drive in the busier times to challenge yourself, cool. As long as you feel comfortable. So you kind of build off on that. So that could be like level two, level three could be to tackle more of the advanced worlds. And like you build yourself to the point where you can go take your world test and pass and then keep growing and driving to more worlds. Like I've driven to about 6 to 8 states, like just about like drove around like the big New England area. And I'm also actually going to be driving in One Island for the first time next month. I'm going to be going to a retro gaming convention, and I finally bite the bullet, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself when I'm not working in my summer school. Like, I'm going to be going in August, so I'm going to see how that goes. Hopefully, tolls won't be too bad, but I'll figure it out and learn about that. So it's like you get what I mean. It's like you kind of build off on that, and then get enough opportunities, and then you get to consider the stuff that works, like the sensory stuff. If you need to add anything that makes you comfortable, because you're going to be driving your car for a while, especially the road trips. Learn about the music you like, or the countless video game music I listen to, or the countless coffee I drink during my road trips, and it's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely agree with what you all said. And again, thank you for that. And now shifting gears a bit, once you have the freedom to get like around with a car, the next major destination, it for a lot of young adults is finding a career. So employment is another major step. And what advice do you have for autistic young adults who are preparing for their very first job interview?
Very good one. And one of the things I do, and when I was running at the drive, I was also working part time, so I had that mixture of employment ones. And I'm a huge believer in like if you're able to get some early works experience, like that's good. Like even if you're volunteering, if you're doing stuff around the house at an early age, like that is a big like help you out a lot in daily life. And then trying to find that balance of you kind of help them out, but then you have to have them do their things. And that's what I do at my school, where I help the students with doing daily living skills, help them out how to structure the day because some people may have executive functioning challenges. So kind of like being a staff to kind of help out and be like, okay, it makes more sense to do this. Okay, and kind of like you help them, but also like kind of help them kind of work the steps to be accountable, help them kind of run the steps for themselves. So in employment is another big area for me. Like I've done job coaching a while ago, so I've worked in a school job coaching. I've do some on and off job coaching. So here, and one of the best ways for a job interview, because that could be a lot, is just I role play. If you're able to role play with someone that works in a similar position, that would be pretty good. And there are some resources that you can access online. I don't know if it's still there on Autism Speaks, but it has a surprisingly good work interview, which I actually used. It was a pretty good example on there. So I would recommend them definitely like role playing, like do a role play of a job interview just to get someone to know what the expectations look like or knowing how to meet your phone beforehand and all that. It's kind of like a lot of direct writing, and that's actually one of the things I hope to do more because I'm itching to go into taking a higher level of job coaching for my career. Like I'm actually like graduate, when I go through my graduate program, like I want to become a vocational rehab counselor because it's a mixture of all the things I've already really like. Like I love being directly working with people. Like I love building relationships with industrials, professionals, coworkers. Like I love developing that working relationship and working to empower each other and working on collaborating. And I've also have that public speaking background where I could talk to businesses and present them like my kind of perspective and present to other different workshops, conferences all around. So it's like a mixture of everything I like. And I'm really hoping to do more and I do more from that. And up also on my webpage, I also opened a job coacher trainer resource for those that want to be job coaches. Like I add a few, and I'm hoping to be a growing resource as it goes. I know I jumped on a bit, but that probably give you a lot to work with. But employment's a pretty major one, and I also just encourage like early, like working on early skills can make a big difference.
Yep, definitely. I completely agree. And all of the people listening to us, we linked Andrew's website below, so you can definitely check it out. We saw it, and it's incredible. So it's not just about the applicant; it goes both ways for sure. And the environment they're entering is also important. How can employers better set up their workplaces to support the unique skills and talents that autistic employees bring? In your opinion, of course.
There's probably like I've seen people do a lot of books. If you go on my LinkedIn, I'm good with a lot of people that are into like those very tech, like very neurodiversity on the workplace ones. So there could be some more in-depth ones. I think honestly one of the biggest and probably the simplest is just look at their challenge, seeing as they fit, and then like customize like their customizable and also being just a human being. Just being a human being, like kind of like be okay with doing accommodations, like kind of learn as you go and collaborate with whoever is with these whoever with them. If there's any job coaches or teachers, just simply collaborating and being fine to learn about more about autism. Like there are places that has autism training. Like one of my contractors, Anderson Center for Autism, they do a lot of autism like awareness workshops for the community that I've done. Like I've actually worked on in the shadows with its slides and content. And a lot of those like they become like autism friendly like businesses, autism friendly places, and it's just kind of like they say that awareness is not needed. Like most people like to go into autism acceptance months. I also get it, but I've always been a believer of like why not just have both? Just have both because there's always people that are not gonna be aware. There's always people that are not gonna be aware. There's always gonna be people that may not know one side because like there's a lot more to autism than just like me. Like there's so many different interstitials. There's the levels. So there's level one, level two, level threes. There's profound autism, but there's a lot of very different autism stories and like real life stories that are out there. So it's really just like being accepting and learning about all of them and just seeing it kind of as it is. Because some of these strategies kind of overlap and it is just better to learn about all of it instead of just keeping to your own just one perspective. I know that's kind of broad, and most of the time employers just want to know if they can do the job. So it's just again learning about how to use their talent and being open minded, more or less.
Yeah, for sure. And looking at the bigger picture of daily life, there's so much to learn outside of just driving and working. For the high school seniors listening who are autistic, what is one life skill you recommend they start practicing right now?
Oh, there could be any. So I could probably pick between soup. Let's see. I'm gonna have to stick with a couple. Several of those is I think a lot of those is being able to venture out, like having your preferred hobbies, like being okay with, there's some non-preferred stuff you probably won't like to do, but is necessary. Like, do I like to pay bills? No, but I still have to. I think everyone can agree with that. Like, you're gonna have to do some jobs that may not like, but it's gonna help out in the long run. So just knowing that being okay with preferred and non-preferred, because I see that quite a bit. Granted, with more like younger high schools, I switch around a lot of my people that I work with in schools and my other type of position. So it's really important, really, yeah, kind of really important to kind of know and being okay with the expectations. Because when like someone tells you you need to do this job or task, it is actually pretty important, and not just compliance. Like it's just teaching you how to handle expectations, being okay with no. Like that one is pretty major. Like being told no, and that could be hard for like most people. So it's kind of just going over like the social expectations and the job because you're going to have to handle that no. Like you can't just flip out and throw a chair out the window or something. It just have to kind of like conduct yourself and just know that hey, you could still grow, and there's things everyone doesn't like, but still have to do. And then the other thing is, again, that could more go into accepting criticism. Like, accepting criticism is major. Like, it isn't there just to smite you. It's just to make you be the better person. You see, I'm a learner, and I'm always like to constantly look at different things. If I have it my way, I'd like to go to different workshops, but I still gotta get paid. I can't take off work all the time. But I love attending workshops and conferences just to keep learning about things. And then really, and again with the preferred and non-preferred, it's just like getting yourself out there. Like, I feel like it's really important to experience this life around you. Like, you could be good covered up at home, but there is a big world out there, and it's not saying that you get rid of your electronics and all that. It just like finding that balance and like, okay, I played after a while, I should go outside and do whatever I need to do next. So just kind of like trying out different experiences and getting yourself out there. Because I kind of feel like if you learn and get to know everything around you in your communities, it get you a greater appreciation of your hobbies. Or it's probably gotten a bit deep, and I kind of stole the quote, not stole the quote, but I kind of there's a quote by like a video game called Earthbound. The creator says something very similar, and how if you go out and do more things outside, you kind of get more appreciations of the video games, which uses real life stuff to inspire. So kind of a little bit long winded.
Yeah, definitely 100% agree. And this is like lovely advice. And this transition is also a huge shift for the people who are raising them. How can parents step back slightly allow their autistic teenagers to make independent choices while still providing guidance and support, in your opinion?
Oh, this could be either way, and I guess, and I'm no parent, so I'm coming from a non-parent perspective. But I think the biggest one is having very adaptable, reasonable expectations. Like having reasonable believing in that they can do this, because again, like teens, children, like they grow from watching their parents do. They kind of do like all these things. If you don't believe them, well, they're not going to think about themselves highly. So it's like it's really important to have those high expectations. Also good to call them out in case, let's say, they do a behavior that shouldn't be. Despite what communities may say, social skills, everyone needs to learn social skills. Like having worked in a school, like learning social skills is very, very important. And having done the one-to-one work here, like where you have to kind of learn some very impulsive behaviors, like it is very, very vital to learn that to kind of help teach people about of like being able to kind of knowing when you went too far and like being and taking responsibility for that and try to be better. Some days might be rougher, but it's kind of like doing that constant effort of just becoming a better person each day. So I come with that, and there's been like a shift of like not being compliant, but in the same time, everyone needs to learn social skills, even non-autistic people. Everyone has to learn social skills because if let people do whatever they want, it will show, and things will get a bit more chaotic.
Yes, definitely.
So it's like when things come up and it like is an absolute no. Like you have to be reasonable. I don't cut you off. I feel like I should say this. It's kind of be a reasonable firm. Like you don't have to be like mean, but be like a disappointed parent and be like, you could do better, but let's go over what you did, go over what you did and what you could do for next time. Like that would be my approach. And this is coming from a very vax person.
Okay, thank you for that.
I know. Yep. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Definitely agreed. That's really good advice. And speaking of like advice, is there anything in general you want our general public who's listening to us to know about ASD?
Really, just that to constantly talk to other people in these communities. Like there's been some very major debates. Like I won't go into all the medical and different like levels of support or functioning labels. I prefer to use level supports for me personally. But sometimes like you don't always get perspective if you just listen to like one autistic autistic person. Like there's also like it isn't just like me. There's like other people, parents, professionals, caregivers, especially those that help with people with profound like autism. Like do have all these different perspectives on there. And one of the brand, what I like to do with my brand is try to have a balanced take, balanced perspective. Like, yes, I talk more about non profound autism content. Like, yeah, but there's a big difference of trying to present that as speaking to be for everyone on the spectrum rather than speaking for myself because I rather speak for myself. So I feel like for you to develop that and let's say if you want to work more with autism, it's just kind of building kind of understanding that because I don't think it's selfish accepting the reality. Like some people may cringe about the superhero stuff, like autism is superhero or autism disability. Like it isn't kind of selfish to kind of get your own perspective on there. It isn't selfish of believing in something else. Because yes, I kind of cringe with some of the superhero stuff. I will let people choose what they want. If they want to believe that's them, I mean, that's their choice. Is it accurate to everyone? Probably not. But I try not to force it too much. But just, I feel like you just keep learning about autism. And for real, and I'm coming this because I like to believe the way people be aware that profound autism does exist. Don't let other people tell you it doesn't exist. It clearly exists. And I've also made some nice infographics on my website and on my social medias about that. At least be able to some of the things I can do because I actually volunteered for the Profound Autism Summit in Massachusetts a few months ago, and that was really cool. Like be able to kind of help out my own way and to learn about it as well. So a lot of it is just kind of learning and just not and not just immediately believe everything you read online because because there's a lot of different things to consider in autism.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And before we wrap up today, I wanted to speak directly to the people listening who might be in the thick of this transition right now. If an autistic young adult is listening who feels nervous or overwhelmed about facing the future, what words of encouragement do you have for them?
And it's hard. It is yeah, it's hard, but I feel like a lot of it is take it day by day and really kind of develop like what you want to do. Like what do you want to do and then taking in support like parents are like hopefully your parents will be there to support you and you may have like a teacher or some very special people in your life. And even if you don't have clear plans, I feel like you should get active in the community. If you work a little bit or if you want to get work experience, there's like opportunities you can find. And there was also surprising opportunities they could come up with social gatherings. Like one of the reasons I can tolerate going to all the different places I go. If any of you go on my Instagram and Facebook, is because I was able to fulfill a lot of my socialization with retro gaming communities, like going to local shops, going to conventions and expos. Like a lot of that got me out of my shell, and I was able to develop friendships because of that. So sometimes it's kind of like finding that community that kind of help empower you. And yes, you can find a lot. And who knows, maybe I could. I one of these days I could probably do a presentation on gaming of how you can do how you can choose your productive energies through gaming because there's a lot of different uses there. And for me, not only is it comfort and me kind of like me learning about experiencing these new stories as characters. I'm a huge Japanese I play a lot of Japanese role playing games, so Final Fantasy, Nier, Xenoblade, like I adore those games. Like I play for the experiences and the storytelling because I take the storytelling and the characters' struggles to how I could apply it to my life. And really, like Nier, like I've always talked about video games, like they're a big like inspiration. They kind of provide me with a reasonable purpose when I'm not a workaholic. Like even right now, and it's also because Sony is basically burning things to the ground because of their non-disc physical disc actions. I heavily disagree with that. I've been posting that on my Instagram and Facebook about that lately. But even with that, it's kind of like you focus on what you're able to do, and like you're in charge of your own hobbies. Like for me, I want the experience, and I will fully embrace that gaming convention in Rhode Island, Newark. So I will definitely embrace that. And just basically kind of get involved. Like it may take you a while, but you will get there. And you really have to put in and just put in the effort and taking those like small steps. You don't have to do big steps. It can be small steps. Like small steps can be very impactful as well as big ones. And yes, I have hobbies outside my work. I want to put that out there.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for those kind words. And thank you again for sharing your insights, your story, and your incredible work with us today. And to everyone who's here, who will see our first episode, thank you for listening. And if you have any guest requests, definitely fill it out. It's on our Instagram and on our website. And stay tuned for more episodes with excellent people just like our amazing guest today. Thank you so much, Andrew Arboe.
Now, thank you for having me on here.